practice? All eyes on camp. We are here. Welcome back to the Coach's Huddle with the Field Meets Family. It's your boy, the coach. And don't look now, but we got a mini camp underway, and the four-man front falls on that day. They done messed up now, boys. They done messed up now. They done opened up a day of camp on a four-man front show, and they done put it on the coach's channel. What they know about that? I got my boy Grant Cone, my man Ryan G. Hensley, and my boy Jesse Naylor. Jesse, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Hold on. You said, wait, well, hold on real quick.
What are we talking about? Practice?
Sorry,
Yo, that's my sound effect, brother.
The shit's chess, it ain't checkers.
Yeah, baby. What's going on, Ryan? I feel like we're left out. We're leaving it about. What's going on, Ryan? How you doing?
I'm used to it, guys. Don't worry about me, you know.
Great. How you been doing, bro?
I'm good. Been a busy day. Got day 2 of minicamp
yeah.
tomorrow, but I like action, so it's good.
Well, let's get straight into it. Let's get to the action. Minicamp day 1. Are there real signals that have come from minicamp, or is it just noise? With the first full practice of minicamp in the books, is it time to separate what's real from what's an early or what's just early camp noise? What stood out as the biggest positives? What raised real concern to you guys? And what did you see that actually reshapes how you view the team heading into the upcoming training camp? I'm going to go ahead and start with Jesse. You guys can work your way around.
No. Let's start with Grant. Grant's there in person. We got to start with the guy.
That's so true. The boots on the ground. We got to roll you out sometime and use you. Grant, tell us what you saw.
I won't belabor the points, but real quick, I mean, D Winters, Purdy threw 3 picks. And instead of being like, oh my God, Code Blue, 3 picks, Winters picked him off. Let's give him credit. Like, he's been really good all offseason. Everyone expects Nick Martin to replace Dre Greenlaw, but for now it's D Winters. Ayuk was there. He wasn't rehabbing, but he was interacting with his teammates. It's the first time I've seen him all offseason. Juwan was hurt. He's a calf injury. And they're real casual about calf injuries. Like, oh, it's not serious. That's what they said about Christian McCaffrey last year. So I feel like you can't really listen to anything they say. All you know is he has a calf injury. And then, yeah, Brock threw 3 picks, and then Mac didn't. And then Kyle afterwards said that you're not good unless you throw picks in practice. So I don't know. However you want to spin that.
What did this gleam moving forward into the season? Did you get any new perspective coming off of seeing the guys for the first day of minicamp?
I mean, not as a team, but like player for player, I have a new perspective on some of the young guys who are improving. Like D Winters keeps showing up. Isaac Guerrero, I don't know if he's going to be a great running back, but he's an incredible athlete. He's like, I think there's 2 guys in the NFL who are way more than 220 and run below a 4.4. It's like him and DK Metcalf. He's super fast. Anyway, maybe I made that stat up, but guys like that. And then Trey Brown, like I don't know who the Niners' best cornerbacks are, but he picked off Brock Purdy today. He's showing up in ways that Renardo Green has so far. So it's just early, but that's kind of stuff you're looking at.
Can I ask Grant a question since he's there and I'm curious?
Sure.
Besides the main receivers, like what about the Isaiah bros? Like how are they looking? Are there any receivers that no one's really talking about that are standing out beyond Watkins? Like what about Hodgins? What about those guys?
Hodgins didn't do anything today with his targets. Nayor didn't do anything today with his 1 target. There hasn't been like a young or a off the radar guy to step up yet. Russell Gage, like the guy who really has been surprisingly good and consistent is Demarcus Robinson. I don't really know what to expect from him, but he's pretty tough to cover. Like he looks at least as good as Juwan Jennings in these periods. I mean, he's faster than Juwan Jennings. I think he's probably just as good of a possession receiver, and he's more explosive. So he might have a good year. He's going to miss the first few games, but he looks like a really good pro.
It's important to note that Demarcus Robinson is not going to be with us for the first quarter of the season. So due to what is that, PEDs? So He's going to have to
No.
sit down for us.
DUI.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, so he's going
And
to
he
have to sit
hasn't
down
been
for 4
suspended
games.
yet, but he will be. So we don't know exactly what it is.
What about the same
Right.
question for the running backs, Grant? Sorry, Coach. I'm just curious. 'cause
No,
I don't
take
really
it.
have
I
much
like
to-
it.
Like with the young running back.
I'm waiting to see Jordan James or Corey Kiner flash. It's been early, and really they haven't gotten many opportunities. With Jordan Mason, you could tell pretty early because he's so big and he ran so hard. I haven't gotten that impression from like Jordan James Jesse, you know Jordan James. He's just not. He might be really solid, but so far it's not like wow. He's not that big. He's not that fast. He's not just overwhelming you and be like Garendo is the one when you watch him, you're like, whoa. He's so like he ran this one route today. It was 3rd down. Saleh brought a blitz. Shanahan sent Garendo out on a route like a deep wheel route, and he had Nick Martin on him man to man. Nick Martin runs a 4.5, and Garendo just dusted him, just pulled away. I don't think there's that many running backs in the league that have a stride like him. It's going to be interesting to see if they can really use that part of his game, like the deep throw to Eyez Garendo, because I think that actually pairs well with Brock Purdy. He's not going to be throwing fades up the sideline to wide receivers, but he could throw wheel routes to 4-3 running backs.
Yeah.
He throws a good wheel route. I mean, that is a route that he certainly has hit on in the past. So, and if CMC can't be that guy, they do need that. I think that's the biggest thing is it's not when they find these running backs to replace CMC eventually or do whatever, it's really less to do with CMC as a runner and more to do about him as a receiver. As he fades, you know, whether that's this year, next year, it's coming. We know that it's coming. How do they replace CMC in the pass game? That was the biggest argument we had last year. Like, who's more important to the offense? Is it Kittle or is it CMC? And to me, it was we were focusing on the run game, but we should have been focusing on the pass game because that's where he makes the difference. That's where the red zone struggled when he wasn't there. That's where Brock Purdy didn't have trust with underneath guys and would make bad decisions downfield. So I think if Garendo can be that, and I do think that he can be that, he doesn't have to be an every down back, but can he be on the field 60% of the time and get out in routes? Yeah, I think that that's a skill set that he certainly has. I mean, he was a receiver that converted to running back, right? So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that we didn't really touch on is moving into camp. I know Brock Purdy threw 3 picks. I'm kind of over that whole constantly assessing Brock. It's going to be what it's going to be. He got paid. So we'll see how that bears out. I don't think that is there any shot that there's a quarterback competition or anybody's looking at Mac Jones in a certain way? None whatsoever. I did hear about Mac Jones having a very productive day, though. I will say that I heard about those reports. What do you got, Grant?
I mean, it's not a quarterback competition because one guy got the contract and one guy didn't, right? But it is a competition in the sense that they're side by side. They're on the same field. I mean, if Mac Jones outplays Brock Purdy every day in training camp, people will know it. So, I mean, today he outplayed Purdy.
But Grant, they're not going to report it. No,
it's okay.
They're not going to report it, though. They won't report it. So people may know it, but they're not reporting it. And we know that that's the case. That it'll never, ever, if every day Matt came in and dusted Brock, nobody would say ish but you, and you would look like an a-hole. Let's just be real.
That is true. And maybe because they're afraid of being wrong. But I mean, look, we haven't seen Mac with this team yet. And he could be a lot. I mean, we saw what Sam Darnold did. Sam Darnold was on 2 bad organizations. All of a sudden, you put him in a good organization. He's pretty good. We haven't seen what Brock Purdy would look like on the Panthers or the Patriots or the freaking, Jets. He's been on the Niners. And I think we've seen a lot of quarterbacks play. We saw Jimmy play well in the Niners. So it's intriguing to see what Mac Jones can do. And today was a good day for him.
I'm just don't understand why you guys continue to talk about Brock Purdy and Mac Jones and never mention Tanner Mordecai.
I mean,
they give him one throw. He's not good.
He? Was it a good one?
Like they'll give Brock 4 throws, they'll give Mac 4 throws, and they'll give Tanner 1, which is kind of unfair to Tanner, but it's like, no, he's not. It's not usually a good one.
All right. So one thing that I feel like it's got to be addressed, and even though it's this part of the year, Ricky Pearsall, Mykal Williams, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Malik Mustafa, Alfred Collins, Yatir Gross-Matos, Fred Warner, Curtis Robinson, Jair Brown, Curtis O'Rourke, George Odom, Darrell Luter Jr., Marquis Siegel, and Andre Dillard were all out. The Niners had at least 14 to 15 guys that were out, injured, not practicing. Now, there's two ways that we can shape this. Let's act like we've been here before. There's one way where one side of the coin they can say, oh, well, we're just taking our time with some guys. Some of this stuff is precautionary. We got a big camp ahead. We're trying to use some we're dependent on some young guys to take us through a deep season, and there's nothing to see here. Or we're the 49ers, and we're always hurt outside of 2023, and this could just be more of the same. Where do you guys fall on? What side of that do you guys fall on? I'll start with Jesse.
I'm not gonna necessarily look at it and hit the panic button and say, oh my gosh, they're already injury prone. Here we go. This happened last year at camp. They couldn't even practice with the Saints. They couldn't even do a cross practice, or Raiders, or whoever it was. So I'm not there yet, but I will say this is the time of year that you probably want your older guys not practicing as much, and you want your younger guys to practice to get used to what's going on. And I feel like the opposite is happening. You've got Trent Williams out there practicing. You've got CMC out there practicing, maybe guys that you would rather pace along. And then you've got guys like Michael Williams and Alfred Collins and Siegel and some of these other guys that should be out there practicing and learning the system, and they're not able to due to some, injuries, what have you. Ricky Pearsall, I would put into there as well. So it's not ideal. It's not, you don't have to hit the panic button, but it certainly isn't ideal. If we were going to do this one way, I would say let's flip it. Have the veterans not practice. Those younger guys should be practicing during OTAs, because the unfortunate thing is after these couple days, the team and the players go their separate ways for about 40, 50 days. And when that happens, it's up to those young players to pick up the pieces, and them not being able to be on the field and kind of feel NFL bodies. That it means a little something. It's not end of the world, but it's not ideal.
Ryan, what you got?
Jesse said doo-doo, just so you guys know.
Doo-doo.
Doo-doo. All right. I think a lot of this is probably precautionary, right? Like it's same with what they said about Ricky Pearsall. It's 2 days left. Why risk it? Let's wait until training camp. So who knows, like, the severity of these injuries. I'll start panicking, start worrying, if this is an issue in training camp. But I feel like right now it's not something I'm really giving much thought to. Obviously, the history of the 49ers, in that regard, it is concerning, but it's not something that I think we need to be concerned about unless this shows up at training camp.
Mm-hmm. Grant, what's your takeaway from all the injuries?
Well, I think people keep saying this year, like, well, the Niners are going to bounce back because they're going to be healthier. Like last year, they had injuries, and that's why they weren't good. And it was like, bad luck. But I think it's possible that 2023 might have been an aberration in terms of health, because it seems like every year I cover this team, we talk about them not being healthy enough. And maybe that's just a product of their franchise. Like maybe they just invest in players who are questionable with health. Maybe they don't invest that much in their, I don't know. Like Michael Williams was hurt all of last season at Georgia, played through it, but guess what? He's hurt now. Maybe that's just the kind of players they invest in. I mean, Alfred Collins was hurt before they drafted him. He's still hurt. Marquis Siegel was hurt before they drafted him. He's still hurt. Like, I don't know. Maybe Christian McCaffrey will stay healthy this year. Maybe Trent Williams will stay healthy this year, or maybe they'll have the same freaking issues they had last year as the whole team. I don't see why you would necessarily expect this team to be one of the more healthy teams in the league, given the way they're constructed.
It would be a disaster, though, if Michael Williams is hurt. Ricky Pearsall was hurt last year. Like your 2 first-round draft picks back-to-back are hurt. That would suck.
Well, one thing that I think you said this, Jesse, that we forget about Ricky Pearsall is that I think we tend to chalk up his struggles for his rookie year due to him getting shot, right? But he was not healthy through camp. He was not available all throughout preseason. So, it's not as if, it was just that one, incident in a vacuum. He's been nicked up since he got here, and now he's nicked up again. So for me, I'm not willing to look at it as, with precautions. They talk about, calf injuries with certain guys. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, quote unquote, had a calf injury last year. And then we found out what exactly that turned out to be. So I trust this team no farther than I could throw them, especially when it comes to injuries. So, that's kind of like a wait and see. Let's get into our next topic. Championship touches are panic patching. With the third most cap space in the NFL, the names like Jair Alexander linked to the team, the 49ers look like they're one move away. In certain instances, that's glass half full. But are they fine-tuning for a title run, or are they just plugging leaks before they burst? Is this a finishing touch or a patch job? I'm going to go ahead and start with Jesse on this one.
The Niners are confusing me a little bit. We talked about this a little bit last night, but the Huff move. What is that? What is that saying? And I think that the 49ers, I've always thought this even before the Huff move, that the 49ers do feel like they're closer to winning a Super Bowl than maybe we perceive them to be. I don't think that they're just like waving the white flag and like, hey, we're not going to compete this year. I genuinely think the guys in that building think they can win a Super Bowl. And so because of that, they are going to make moves accordingly. And Huff fit right into that. And for me, as long as they're not mortgaging the future and signing guys to long-term deals, 1-year deals for veterans, I have zero issue with. And that's why I am on board with signing a guy like Jair Alexander, or, people have floated trading for Ramsey if you can trade a late round pick for him and see what he is for a year. Maybe he can play safety for you. So to me, spend whatever money you want as long as these guys are not on the roster guaranteed past this year, and then reevaluate at the end of the season. If they're worth keeping, then extend them, work on new deals. So I don't know. I just, the way I see it is this team has a weakness at corner, in my opinion, or at least uncertainty at corner, I shall say. And Jair Alexander helps answer that question. So I would be all for a Jair Alexander coming.
Ryan, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think they absolutely need a corner, whether it's Jair Alexander, Jalen Ramsey. I actually like what's his name? I can't remember. CJ Henderson is available. He was a 9th overall pick, just been injured. He'd probably be a lot cheaper. They could probably get CJ Henderson and a Jalen Ramsey or Jair Alexander if they really wanted to. Corner is a worry of mine. Safety might become one if Malik Mustafa can't come back quick enough. There's also, to me, I know this sounds crazy, but running back is a little bit of a concern for me. I don't know about these young running backs, these rookies yet, and they might just be absolute dogs. But we know CMC, it could be like hit or miss as far as like, is he going to last? Is he not? I think we're all nervous about that. And then Eyez Guerrero is not really an every down back. He's more of a weapon. We know he can break big plays, but is he an every down back? I don't think so. And his injury history is kind of shady as well. So I could see them investing in running back. I think from a fantasy standpoint, we would all love them to pick up some great linemen, but who are those guys? It's not going to happen. So I think that's just unrealistic. But I think just getting Huff doesn't mean, all right, now we're competing for a Super Bowl. But it does change my thinking of how the 49ers are handling this offseason. I thought, this is definitely a 2-year plan, and it still might be. But with Huff, that kind of signals, hey, we're going in on some stuff, but they just need to take it a step or two further, maybe adding at least one more player, probably more like 2 or 3.
But they haven't lost the plot, which is what I like.
Okay.
You look at the Huff deal, and Huff, they can get out of it after this year. There's no guaranteed money after this year. So every move that they make, even if it's to try to win this year, they're still making sure that they are leaving the outs into next year, which is the most important thing. Because as much as they try to go all in this year, really next year is the year that they're going to be able to truly go all in. That's when the 90 plus million of dead cap drops off and it goes down to like 22 million. And that's when the salary cap goes up again. And they're going to have plenty of money and plenty of assets next year. And as long as they don't mess with that money and those assets, I'm good with whatever they do.
Well, I listened to Diamador Lenore speak today to the media, and he's come of age. He talked about him being a veteran on the team, him feeling like he's one of the older guys now. Definitely talked about Renardo Green, where he said that, hey, listen, him moving on to his sophomore year, definitely adding more confidence is something that's key for him to take the next step. He also said that he thought that Darrell Luter Jr., this was his year. This was going to be his come-out year. Now, I understand that remains to be seen, but he loves Trey Avery too. I say all of that to say this. We've got 10 corners on the roster. And at what point do we just put the onus on our coaching staff to find a secondary out of these 10 guys? I mean, why do we have to go find a guy? Jair Alexander he's been name only for about 2 to 3 seasons. So even getting a Jair Alexander, we're not getting the type of player that would be able to replicate any type of production for us. At this time, I feel like getting somebody like a Sherm at that time, that was something that we needed to be able to pace up the young guys. But I feel like we've got more than enough here to just stick with what we got. I'm gonna go ahead and just kick to Grant real quick. I don't know if you wanted to touch in on this.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it'd be great if Luter Jr., Renardo Green, Upton Stout, one of the young guys could step up, like Daniel Brooks could develop these guys. But they also, had the track record. Like they brought back Jason Verrett. Jason Verrett had way bigger injury issues than Jair Alexander, and they turned him into like an all-pro cornerback for a year. I mean, he already was one, but they brought him back. So if they feel they could get Jair Alexander for a cheap 1-year deal or a 2-year deal, what's the point of having all this cap space? How much cap space do you need to roll over to next year? You got like $45 million in cap space, like second most in the league after the Patriots or something. Why not?
Well, we got a whole offensive line to get next year too.
You just got Bryce Huff. Why not make a couple more moves for the present? You've made some great moves for the future.
I don't think Jair Alexander would be a move for the future. I think that would actually be the antithesis of the future. That'd be kind of going back. I think that we need to move on. Yeah, I think we need to move on. But go ahead. Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, my only thoughts about what you were saying, Coach, is that, rolling with an unknown quantity at corner feels risky. That's almost like rolling with an unknown quantity at quarterback, right? Like that's like if Brock went down and we didn't have Mac Jones and we're like, F it, we're going to roll with Curtis Rourke, coach him up, A corner to me is it's such an important position in football, right? Like they can cost you games if they're not adequate. So I think like the question is like, yeah, we should be developing these younger dudes if this is a 2-year plan. But if bringing in Huff is signaling, we're all about it this year, that's why I think you need to go get somebody with experience.
I don't think, but I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan. So the reason why I pushed against Jair Alexander is because signing Huff kind of gives the illusion, in my opinion, that we are trying to go all in, right? We do feel like we're close. But without Bryce Huff, it's really Nick Bosa, Mikael Williams, and a bunch of guys. There's really nobody there that's going to be able to rush the passer. I really believe
corner position though. It's Demo, Green, and a bunch of guys. Like how is it any different?
But hold on, but not all right. Not necessarily though. I think that bringing in Bryce Huff is somebody that actually protects Mikael Williams. I don't think Jair Alexander protects anybody. What's he going to do? Bump Demo out for number one? Demo's the number one corner. Renardo Green is going to play nickel?
No.
No,
he comes in, he plays outside, and Demo plays nickel.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
So Demo's we're going to put $90 million at nickel. Demo's
still your number one guy. Him and Jair play when there's 2 corners, and when there's 3, he bumps into nickel. You use his versatility. Green comes in and he plays outside.
I don't think that's what you pay your number one corner for his versatility. You pay your number one corner to guard the best guy, to be a number one corner. Not bastardize his skill set just because you want to fit the best guys on the field at once.
The one thing that's scary.
So there's a certain amount of money that you pay a corner that precludes him from playing in the slot.
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
The one thing that scares me about what I've been hearing from this OTAs is Renardo Green not doing as well as expected. I'm not there, but I've heard multiple people say that. So that's even more of a reason why I think they should, especially if they're being serious about this season.
I don't think it'd be particularly expensive either.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not dying on the hill on this one. It's just my opinion. But if they get him, I can
wait. Like give the reps to Renardo Green. Like Jair Alexander doesn't need to be here for now. See what Ronaldo Green does. Today, he didn't give up any catches. Good. If he gets burnt tomorrow, you make a decision. I bet Jair Alexander's going to be hanging around the beginning part of training camp too.
And the way you shape it, when you shape it that way, that kind of speaks to why I don't want him here in the first place, which is kind of a compromise. I don't want a guy who really doesn't have a future here taken away from the maturation process to figure out what we have in these guys. And for me, if we're not going to win the Super Bowl, the best thing to do right now is figure out what we got. And you don't figure out what you got going to go get a Jair Alexander. So I like that, Grant, where it's like he doesn't have to be here now. And I think that if he needed to be here up until that point, it would be because some of the guys are showing that they're not ready. So I like that as well. Go ahead, Jess.
Jair Alexander immediately, I read the report today, got interest from 6 teams the moment he was cut.
Yikes.
So I think
how come they couldn't trade him though?
Going to sign someone because he had a when you have a contract, it's different when you have you can work out a 1-year deal that is incentive laden versus I got to take over your contract. And now, we got to work around that. So there is some of that goes
the
into
Packers could have hey, we'll pay for half, or like what the Eagles did. We'll pay for 60% and give us something, but they didn't get anything.
Well, the Packers also, there's some weird loophole in his contract that I've never seen before where they actually are able to take on the full dead cap hit this year, even though they cut him post June 1st. So I don't know if that would have been a loophole if they had traded him or what the situation was. So I'm sure maybe, they weighed both options. But to me, I guess Darrell Luter Jr., if he comes out and he's awesome, then we can come back to this and say Jesse was an idiot and I'll take it on the chin. But I don't understand why we're so hell-bent on figuring out what Darrell Luter Jr. is. He was a 5th-round pick who's been in the league now for 3 years. What?
It's football.
Who cares?
It's the traits.
It's year 3, and he was a 5th-round pick.
I'm not excusing it. I'm not condoning it, but it's football. The traits. We are a slave to how a guy looks.
Yeah, we didn't have patience for Olmac's traits, and look at how that worked out for us. So there you go. I don't know. Jair Alexander is a proven commodity. He's a good player. Darrell Luter Jr. hasn't been able to get on the field in 2 years. He was a 5th-round pick. I mean, I don't know. I'm willing to forego seeing what Darrell Luter Jr. is if it means bringing in Jair Alexander, who I know is just a good player in this league. Yeah,
your argument is solely Darrell Luter Jr., but we got 10 corners, so it ain't just Darrell Luter Jr.
But they're all it's a bunch of hodgepodge you've thrown against the wall. It's it's a bunch of guys who haven't done anything in this league and have bounced around late round picks, and you're hoping one of them pops versus, hey,
a guy who hasn't done anything in 3 years in the league.
What about Jalen Ramsey?
Still been elite.
What about Jalen Ramsey? He played 17 games last year.
That was going to be my next question.
Jair Alexander. He's available.
I would take Jalen, but at safety.
Safety?
Yeah.
Is he more of a safety at this point?
Yeah, we would sorely need him there, and I honestly think he would have a resurgence there. I think
he's
so.
A good player.
Don't sleep on CJ Henderson, man.
CJ Henderson sucks.
No,
that's so bad, Ryan.
No,
he sucks.
He get a minimum. He's just been injured. He doesn't suck. He's just been injured.
He's been injured forever.
CJ's cheeks, dog.
Explain why he sucks.
Everywhere he's gone, he's lost his starting job, and then he's gotten injured.
He lost his starting job first before getting injured?
Yes. And then he tries to fight back, and then he loses his job, and then he's fighting, and he gets injured. He's
like that guy
who's not able to stick anywhere.
You're muted, Grant.
Wait, in his career, what?
In his career, he's given up a quarterback rating of 109.8.
Right.
Let's move
Last year was 106.8.
We're all friends.
I'm sorry,
here.
Ryan.
Let's move on.
I'm not a CJ Henderson guy, but
we're all friends
maybe
here.
his best football's ahead of him.
Yep.
From my understanding, he's playing injured. That's why he's been so bad. That's what I read, but I could be wrong.
I think he came in the league injured, and he's been injured for about 3 years, 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So CMC's window or the franchise future. McCaffrey is still the motor of the offense, but he's getting older as we see and stacking touches as we've seen before. Should the 49ers run him full throttle this season to chase a ring or to do the best that the team can do? Or should they intelligently use him and start preserving him for what's ahead? Is this a sprint or a marathon? So I kind of want to touch on this first. For me, I believe that it really comes to the money. Christian, it would be different if Christian wasn't getting paid the price tag at $16 million a year plus. And because of that, I think that he's got to have a beautiful death. We got to ride him out until we can't get anything else out of him. You can't really pace him out and preserve him, because I don't think Kyle will. I think that Kyle will run him into the ground. And because of it, I think that we really are going to have to get some other guys behind him ready for the season, because I don't see him surviving the season. I'll start with you, Ryan, if you're ready. You look like you're busy. And we'll start around.
Up, but what can you I was listening, can you give me the specific question?
Is this the CMC window or the franchise's future? Are we going to push for CMC into the ground, or are we going to preserve him this year?
I mean, I think we're beyond that. I think we're beyond preserving CMC. Like, if you're asking me, like, are they going to run him into the ground this year specifically? I would have to base that on the past and say, yes, that's what they're going to do. I think I haven't seen any evidence that they're going to do running back committee with Christian McCaffrey on the team. So if he's healthy, I expect him to get 95% of the snaps at running back.
What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit about this yesterday. To me, it's a little bit of both. They've got to pace him out throughout the year, because this team should make the playoffs. And when you make the playoffs, you got to have a healthy CMC. Assuming CMC is 90% of what he was in the past, you're going to need that guy. So they're going to have to pace him out. But once they get there, all bets are off, man. They've got use him as much as you can, because you know that him playing wins football games. And if that means you use him until the wheels fall off, he doesn't have any more guaranteed money. He's going to be 30 next year anyways. Like, it's not that far-fetched that this would be the final year that you've got him on the team. So this isn't like 2 years ago where we're like, hey, you might want to consider pacing him out. You're going to want him for the next few years, knowing that he would be on the team for the next, 2 years after the Super Bowl run. Now it's like, well, we're on a 1-year deal, essentially. If you're not here after that, it is what it is. They've got to use him for what they need and get the most out of him. So I'm a little bit more willing to ride him till the wheels fall off, unlike I was 2 seasons ago.
I think McCaffrey's intriguing because, like, they could give him all the carries, they could overuse him, they could try to preserve him. I'm not sure that anything they do with McCaffrey is going to bring him back to being a dominant player. Like, it's possible it's just over. Like, last year was so troubling. He comes back, and not only were the yards per attempt down, like, not only was his like velocity down as a runner, he never scored a touchdown in 4 games. He's never been that kind of a player. If you go back and look at his track record, he basically, from the time he got into the league to the Super Bowl, scored about a touchdown a game. I think he had 81 touchdowns in 84 games. He had none last year. It just seemed like a freaking shell of himself. So I don't know if it really matters how they use him anymore. I think what matters is finding other ways to score touchdowns, because he's not a cheat code anymore. It's not like they're going to be in this dilemma like, God, we could just give it to Christian McCaffrey 25 times and win, but it's week 1. Like, what are we going to do? Like, I don't know if that's even going to win you games anymore. Like, you got to find other ways. And maybe he's still a contributor, but he's not necessarily your best player. He's not the guy that drew all, had all the gravity the last couple of years. He's not the guy that Jesse was talking about, who was the MVP of the offense. I think those days are over. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know.
All right. So, I mean, a lot of this is, it's never personal, but it's just what we've seen. And I believe that there were reports from our side of the pond, definitely Grant and Jesse, where you guys saw Chris CMC and you aptly noticed, like, he looks like he lost a step. He does not look as fast or as quick or as explosive. I don't understand. I'm not looking for the right word. Burst. Do you see Kyle seeing this and putting together at least a contingency? You've got Eyez Guerrero, you got Jordan James, you've got players where you can insulate him. Do you think that Kyle will at least bend the knee, or they're just going to just say, you know what, business as usual until there's an injury? And when there's an injury, then it's just, it is what it is.
Ooh, that
They're
one's
not
tough,
gonna
man.
bench him. They're
Yeah.
not gonna embarrass him.
They're not
They're
going to
not gonna
embarrass
take
him.
him off
Okay.
the field. But what they can do is ride him until the wheels fall off. He gets hurt and say, "Oh, that's too bad. Now I gotta go to Isaac Guerrero." I mean, that
Mhm.
seems to be how Kyle Shanahan handles things.
Yeah, Christian won't pull himself off either. And I don't want to change the subject here, you guys. I'm gonna let you finish. But I had to look this up. 2021, CJ Henderson and Patrick Surtain had the best 2 coverage grades in the
What the
preseason in 2021. So I don't want to hear this shit
The
that he
shit's
wasn't
chest, it ain't
ever
checkers.
good. That's absolute bullshit. I had to get it out.
All right, fair enough. I defer.
Yeah.
You got the
CJ
stats.
Henderson sucks, man. He
Yo.
sucks.
Him and Patrick
just changed my
Surtain had
mind
the
on
same
CJ
coverage
Henderson.
grade, Jesse. So
And
All right,
4
all right,
years
all right.
ago.
Hey, you know what? It's Ryan's show. Go ahead,
right.
Ryan. What you
Let's
got
talk
for us?
about
What you got,
why they
Ryan?
should be-
Go ahead. What you got for us,
Should be
Ryan?
mine.
Good Lord. All right, man. But I mean, to get back to the subject though, I agree with Grant. They're not gonna put him out the pasture. They're not gonna just watch him go out on his shield. They're gonna protect his legacy. But let's do over under. What week? What week you got? Over under week 10?
Oh, I don't want to play this game with injury. I don't like
Oh,
this.
we're both on
This makes
injury.
me feel sick to my stomach. Yeah, I don't want to play
I don't
this
want to
game.
predict injuries.
Pussies. All right, so let's
Yeah,
go.
that's fine.
So let's move forward. So, all right. Did Bryce Huff save the pass rush? 49ers added Bryce Huff, one of the league's most efficient edge rushers, by way of Robert Saleh's attraction to him and picking him up. But Bosa still needs help, and the rookies are unproven. Did Huff solve the pass rush concerns or just delay the question for another lackluster pass rush? So basically, the flat out question is, and I'm going to start with you, Jesse. Does Bryce Huff, is he the final piece or is he the first patch?
Ooh. Well, the answer is CJ Henderson was so good that they traded him 2 games into his second year. But I'm just kidding. No, when it comes to Bryce Huff, I like Bryce Huff, but there seems to be this weird thing going on that Bryce Huff was really good under Saleh, and then he was in the wrong system every other year. Bryce Huff played for Saleh for 3 years. It took him till year 3 to get double-digit sacks. The first 3 years of his career, 2 of which were with Robert Saleh, he had less than 10 sacks, okay? And then last year, yes, the Eagles run like a lot of hybrid stuff where they run a 3-4. Sometimes they run 4-3. They'll even do a 5-2. But on pass rushing downs, they run a ton of wide 9 and allow their guys to put the hands in the dirt if that's what they choose to do. Huff just wasn't productive. So is Huff more the undrafted guy that has 10 sacks in the other 4 years of his career? Or can he rekindle what he did for the 1 year? We're going to find out. I'm not looking at Huff as some sort of savior or anything like that. I do think that Huff can be productive here. But I think long-term, they might still be searching for a pure pass rusher if Huff proves out to not be the 10 sack guy, and if Mykel Williams doesn't develop fast enough as a pass rusher. So we'll see. But I don't look at Huff as some sort of savior by any means.
Grant?
I'm a big Niners homer, so take this with a grain of salt. I think I see the vision. I like Bryce Huff. Even if he only has 4 sacks this year, I think he could have a huge impact on the defense, because I think the way it's supposed to work is he's the guy with the quickest get off. He's the guy who covers the most ground in the first 3 steps. So even if he doesn't touch the quarterback, if he can force the quarterback to step up in the pocket, he just helped Bosa, Mykel Williams, Alfred He just helped everyone else, because a lot of times quarterbacks don't have to step up in the pocket against the Niners, and it takes Bosa a while to get there. So that's what D4 did. That's what Bryce Huff is supposed to do. He could have 4 sacks and do his job. I like it. It makes sense. I think it's a great compliment to Nick Bosa, who's such a good player, but he's not really a speed rusher.
Okay, so let me just give you kind of like a follow-up question. does this, I don't want to say final piece because that's putting a little too much on you to answer, but do you feel like this was more of this completes the pass rush? Do you feel like Bryce Huff coming onto the team makes us okay going into the camp and foreseeable through the season?
Well, I mean, to Jesse's point, like he's been in this role before and he hasn't produced every single year. Like he gets the first crack at this role. Robert Saleh wants this role in his defense. They brought in Bryce Huff. They gave a flyer. The Eagles are spending more on Bryce Huff than the Niners are this year. They gave up a mid-round pick. Was it a fifth? So if he's good, they'll keep him. If not, he's 27 right now. They could easily bring in someone next year to do the job who's younger and cheaper. So we'll see.
Okay. Ryan, how do you feel about it?
I love the move. And honestly, I'm not really concerned about the 49ers pass rush at the moment with Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, Mykel Williams, your Tier Gross Matos, Sam Okiananu, or however the hell you say his name correctly.
I still struggle.
Yeah, man, that one kills me. I'm cool with the 49ers D-line in general. I like the D tackles. I like the pass rushers. I think Bryce Huff was that missing pass rush specialist that they needed. And as long as Mykel Williams is healthy, it's one of the least worries on the team. Now, obviously, they got CJ West, Alfred Collins being hurt, and Mykel Williams being hurt. Alfred Collins and Mykel Williams being hurt really concerns me because they are rookies. But I love what I see from CJ West. So assuming all these dudes are healthy by week 1, I'm not really worried about the pass rush at all.
I want to bring this up too because Grant brought it up, and a lot of people have been like, oh, yeah, the 49ers, they got over on the Eagles. Look at the Eagles are paying more for Huff than the 49ers are. The 49ers are paying more for Floyd and Eric Armstead to not be on this team than they are for Huff. So, it's not like the 49ers have been picture perfect when it comes to managing their salary cap around this specific position.
Look at all that dead money.
Well, they're done playing Trey Lance. That's good. They're not playing Trey Lance.
We just got Trey off the books.
That's good.
So, yeah, we'll see, man. So I got a couple of more questions. Let's get into Robert Saleh. So is Robert Saleh with Robert Saleh coming back being the emotional core of the defense, and basically coming in with carte blanche. There was a lot to do to even get him in the building. On top of that, we saw his effect in the draft. We're bringing on multiple players for the defense. We've had multiple conversations and interviews from Robert Saleh about the new look or some of the elements that he wants to add. And to be honest with you, it's almost everything's been really all good. There's been no negative coming from the Robert Saleh side of the defense or of the team. Almost as far as to call him as the head coach of the defense. But how much leeway and grace are we willing to give Robert Saleh if the defense starts struggling? I mean, does he have built-in excuses, or has he put himself in a position where he kind of has no excuse to perform? I'll start with you, Ryan, and we can work our way around.
I mean, I think he's got to be better than last year. I think he's got to be better than Nick Sorensen. I think that's the bar for him in my eyes. Like, as long as he's better than Nick Sorensen's defense last year with all of these rookies, I'm not going to be complaining about Robert Saleh much. And it's really, to me, I have no worries about whether Robert Saleh is going to be a good defensive coordinator. To me, that's already a yes. It's already established. The question is, are these rookies that they drafted to fill these voids on the defense going to be adequate, right? Like, is Nick Martin, and who looks really freaking good. I watched his highlight tape this morning, and I was really impressed. So is Nick Martin going to be able to step up? Is D. Winters going to step up? Then are all the three, Mykel Williams, CJ West, Alfred Collins, are they going to be good? As long as those guys are decent, I'm completely confident that Robert Saleh will be able to put it all together.
How do you feel, Jess?
I do think it's an interesting question because Robert Saleh certainly is getting a lot of love, but what happens if he does something crazy at halftime against the Minnesota Vikings and it costs him a touchdown? Like, are people going to lose their mind the way that they did? Yeah, the way that they did, with these other coaches. And, to be fair, the first, 4 or 5 picks of this draft were all defense. And so, and a lot of that is because Robert Saleh wanted specific body types and athletic type traits. So those guys are here because of his input. We know that because Jed York tweeted it. So whether they want to or not, whether Saleh wants to or not, I mean, there is a lot of pressure to perform. This is not, he can't come in here and just be okay or mediocre. This defense, I think the expectation is top 10. There's talent on the defense, and Robert Saleh is supposed to be that deal. So if it's anything but, and they're struggling, I could see people getting upset for sure.
But I think he does, like, to real quick to answer like another part of your question I didn't answer was he does have built-in excuses to me. I mean, with as many rookies as there's going to be playing, like that's legit.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
I mean, and that's a huge turnover of players too. I mean, he can't. I understand he picked the players, but they're still rookies.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't coach to perfection. There's got to be some margin of error that we're willing to give. Not even just.
Sure, he would have loved to have Javarius Ward. He's not here. Not his choice.
I mean,
but he's a great player.
Give Kyle Shanahan 5 rookies on the offense, and I promise there will be lots of excuses if they don't perform.
That's a great point. Grant, how do you feel about it?
I mean, yeah, I think the expectations are high because it's Robert Saleh, but I think the bar is kind of low because Nick Sorensen set it that low. And I do think that, like, the expectations are higher on offense. You just signed the quarterback. You have all these veterans. The offense has been together for a long time. Kyle Shanahan's supposed to be a great coach. So I think there's more pressure on Kyle than there is on Saleh. And I think what's interesting is, like, Kyle just scapegoated the last 2 defensive coordinators. Now you're on your 4th guy in 4 years. And I think Kyle, whether he knows it or not, has to be a little threatened by Saleh, because if anyone's going to replace Kyle as the head coach of the 49ers, it's probably going to be Robert Saleh. He's in the building right now, and it's almost like dueling tryouts. Who does better this year? Because there's one world, there's one universe where the Niners do great. They win 12 games. Offense is good. The defense is good. Kyle gets an extension, and Saleh's the head coach somewhere else next year, and everyone's happy. Or they're 7-10 this year, and the defense is inconsistent but young, and the offense is a mess, and he's out, and it's Robert Saleh's team next year. I mean, maybe that doesn't happen, but if I were a head coach, I'd be worried about that.
There's one way that you can be sure that to have success, it's sign CJ Henderson. No, I'm just kidding.
Ryan.
Just trolling.
Therapy, bro.
Nice. I like CJ. That was good.
I like that.
Did you know that his first year he was right up there with Patrick Surtain?
1 and 2.
You know who drafted CJ Henderson? Trent Baalke.
That's true. Yeah,
that is true. I mean, my biggest thing, my biggest thing with this is just trying to understand where we go from here. I mean, it's nice to say that we understand that, the defense, they've got a lot of turnover and that it's all on the offense, but that's not the way they're going to play it. They're not going to push it out this way. As soon as a lot of the turnover and the guys and the new additions that have come on have really all been on the defense. And the way it's going to get pushed is that the assets have been put on the defense. Even when we were at our best, this team has kind of always been intelligently built as we put everything into the front 7. We put everything on the defense. Kyle can do the best with the offense. Kyle does the best with the offense. Do you feel like we've kind of turned over now where how do we pin this as an offensive team? Like, how is it fair to walk into this year's season saying that this is a defensively led team? Or do we have to organically see that? Just let that bear out. Where's the responsibility?
It should 100% be an offensive led team. Whether if that's what happens or not, I don't know. But like we said, 5 rookies on defense. Robert Saleh coming back, first year working with these guys. This offense is it's the same O-line minus Aaron Banks. It's the same wide receivers from last year minus Debo. It's the same team on offense. Kyle's been here 9 years. It absolutely should be led by the $53 million man and his squad of continuation.
But we've seen for years that this is a defensive-led team. And the 1 year where it was an offensive-led team was 2023. And that year you had Christian McCaffrey and Debo Samuel in the same offense scoring hella touchdowns.
In their
Those days are over. That's what made that offense so unique and impossible to prepare for. No one had Debo Samuel in their practice squad or Christian McCaffrey. Now it's like you can prepare for the Shanahan scheme. Everyone has this scheme, and there aren't those two transcendent, unique players on the team anymore. So it's defense.
So you still already okay. So basically,
and you can't be that bad on the offensive line and be like, we're going to dictate with our offense. No, you're going to counterpunch with your freaking offense and try to dictate with your defense.
But dog, not when you're paying you got the highest paid running back in the league. I mean, I understand. I mean, how are they going to play it and market it?
Highest paid running back, highest paid fullback, highest paid tight end, top 10 paid quarterback, highest paid left tackle. I mean, they should be
this should be an offensively led team. My thing is, when is the switch going to happen? When are we going to start seeing games where, God forbid, I'm not here to say that, we're going to have a losing season. I really don't think we're going to have a losing season. But where do you start to see
the offensive line? You can't. You're not a drop back passing team. You can't win that way. You are a run first, play action second, ball control team, and that depends on a defense being hella good. Until they have an offensive line that's really, really good, they can't. You just can't
dictate.
No.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with I don't disagree with what Grant's saying, but what I'm saying is they should be based on the continuation and how much
and the skill position and the money. I agree.
We're all in agreement with that.
That's what's so crazy to me about not finishing the loop with the offensive line. Like, you're so close. If you just had the offensive line, this really could be one of the best offenses in franchise history, but you don't do that.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes Kyle sandbags it on purpose? Like, where he purposely doesn't put value into certain positions on the, particularly offensive line, but just on the offense period, where if it doesn't pass or if it doesn't fail from a fiscal standpoint, at least he can go back to Jet and say, hey, they're not that expensive. I'm trying to give you the best bang for your buck here. Now, if you want to be the Eagles and pay everybody $1 billion a piece, then, you can brute force it. But I have a system, and this is why my system works. Or is he past that? Where he's been here 9 years, and we're to the point where it's like, nah, you got to give us something completely different. No more wrinkles.
I think Kyle thinks that, like, lowbrow, passe coaches, not cutting edge minds, think that you have to have a good offensive line, and that's what coaches that have no ideas do. It's like, I'll just build up my offensive line, but then he thinks like those guys are always drafting high and building and bringing in offensive linemen. Like, really, really good coaches don't think like that and can sort of work around their offensive line, and that's what makes Kyle Shanahan Kyle. That's what you're paying him all this money for, to save money there. And I disagree, because like, you look at someone like Ben Johnson who is just as creative as Kyle, if not more creative, just as cutting edge, if not more cutting edge, and look at how he values the offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, the guy who, eats our lunch, Andy Reid, his claim to fame is his development of offensive line. That's what he does. So I don't get it. Especially if you look at the Eagles. We can go there all day as far as, what they're not going to do. I'm pretty much all but giving up on it. They're never going to actually focus and hone in on the line and just, do it purposely. I will say that next season, they kind of are going to come up against an impasse where they have to go again. They have to get offensive line. Trent Williams is going to be up. Colt McKivens is up. Jake Brindle is up. And I don't know what you're going to do at left guard. And the only guy that's really going to be on the offensive line moving forward is Dominic Pooney. So that's one of the reasons why throughout all of these free agent conversations that we've been having about picking up guys on being a player away or getting a Jalen Ramsey or a C.J. Henderson or picking up any other corners, I feel as though that we got bigger issues that are going to be looming down the line where offensive linemen are investments, and we're going to have to. We can't get it all in the draft.
I agree. I just took it out of my mind as something that they would actually do.
Definitely. Let's get through some super chats and then get out of here, guys. Chris Gross, $2. Coach, that Tupac album cover with you was fire. Thank you. I think the boys liked it too. And Hugo de Jesus, I expect Kyle to do it now that he got Rob. No exec.
No excuses.
No excuses. No, I think, and let me just ask you this. How much, during the season, how much do you guys expect Kyle to lean on Robert Saleh? Where we're clearly looking at the offense sputtering, and the defense is hitting on all cylinders. Do you expect to see this quicker into the season or at all?
It can't be early. I can't be early with all these rookies. It shouldn't be at all, but especially early with all these rookies. He can't lean on a defense with 5 rookies or 5 young players. It might be more than that as starters. I don't think he can.
I think it's interesting that Robert tried so hard to build up that run defense right away because week 1, Clint Kubiak, you're going to be facing Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet. Like, they're going to be tested early, and if they can't stop the run, they're going to lose early. So I get it.
100%.
This is the third year in a row to me that I've been saying that this should be an offensive-led team. I mean, you 2 years ago, you had Steve Wilkes, who was brought in to run a system that wasn't his. That should have been an offensive-led team. You had CMC as well. Last year, you had a new defensive coordinator that had never been in that position. Again, you still had elite offensive players. That should have been an offensive-led team. I just feel like at the very least, Saleh and these rookies are exactly what the 49ers fan base needs to look directly at Kyle if things aren't going well on offense and be like, dude, what the hell? What more do you want, man? Like, you are supposed to be an offensive genius. You're the head coach. You've got a guy who you can completely give the reins to on defense and he doesn't even have to put 1 second of effort into the defense or special teams anymore. It's covered. Go fix that offense. Make that offense score the points that it needs to score to go win these games. It's going to have to carry the team. And this is the third year in a row, really, that should be the case. But the last 2 years, everybody else has complained about the defense, even up through the Super Bowl. So we'll see.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Related to this? What will rank higher? 49ers defense points allowed or 49ers offense points scored this season? What will rank higher?
It's got to be the offense. It's got to be the offense.
It's going to be the defense.
It's going to be the defense. Yeah.
I think it might be. You would hope it was offense, but I think it might be the defense.
I think they're not. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Niners' offense is going to gain hella yards. But I don't know about the points. I mean, unless Christian McCaffrey scoring them, who's scoring these touchdowns?
I don't know about the red zone, and they never use George when they should. It's like, for George to be the most consistent, can't miss, for sure Hall of Fame player on this team. It's almost as if his numbers come like on accident, where it's like they try everything else and then they finally get George involved. It's quite impressive because he's really not featured, to be honest. Let's get one more super chat out.
Hold on, let me stick with that real quick before you move on. So Kittle last year, best year of his career, All Pro, 94 targets. Like Travis Kelce, freaking washed, right?
Washed,
old as hell. He had 133 targets. Like
Trash.
Still old ass Travis Kelce gets way more volume than George Kittle. Is that Kyle's fault? Is it Brock's fault? Is it George's limitation?
That's more. Juwan Jennings had more touches than that.
20 more targets.
That's unreal. I mean, the way he just doesn't get featured, and it's almost like Kyle uses him in spite because he just doesn't want like it to be a tight end featured offense or something, like, because it works. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't get it. Let's get a couple of these out the way, guys. Frisco Shields 199. How is Kyle a genius if he can't game manage? I feel the same way. I mean, I'm not here to bash the guy, but it was quite telling last year when he finally handed over play calling duties during preseason. And he thought, I mean, he said it in a tongue-in-cheek way, like, I didn't know what to do during the game. I wasn't calling plays. But I don't know, it's just his workflow. We got the coach we got. We got the boss we got. The boss is the boss. Let's get into our last super chat. Frisco Shields 499. 1981 Niners defense had 9 starters with 3 or fewer years of experience. Who cares about yards and points allowed with no wins? That's true.
1981 defense had 3 rookies in the defensive backfield. One was Ronnie Lott. You should check him out. Good player.
That worked out.
That worked out. Hey, guys.
Dude, you know that George Kittle in his entire career has 33 catches in the playoffs and Travis Kelce has 178?
They don't feature him. I really do believe that. I think that it's Kyle uses George as like, you're here to be used, not featured. Remember in 2019 when George was like kind of coming out, it was clearly he was about to take off as a superstar. And then we started getting all of this weird energy from Kyle where he wasn't using them. He kind of would always kind of roll his eyes and like shift his disposition when he was talking about George. I really do feel like there was a thing where Kyle just thought that George was getting a little too big for his britches.
Dude, was this year not the exact same thing? In 2019, he had 13 targets, 8 catches in the playoffs. In 2023, he had 13 targets and 8 catches in the playoffs. What is that? 3 games. What is that? I don't understand.
know.
Travis Kelce has the most catches in playoff history.
Yeah. I really feel like he gets shut down, man. George definitely is not used as much as
what would
he
Kittle's
could
numbers
be
if he had played for Andy Reid?
Oh my God. Like,
what would Kittle's numbers be if he had Nick Mullins at quarterback for his whole career, huh?
Thank you. Shout out to Nick Mullins.
We're closing with that. One more super chat. Hugo de Jesus. It's not Kyle, it's Brock not seeing it. Get out of here. Go write your congressman. Hey, Jesse, Grant, Brian, we had a good one. We'll see you guys next time. The next 4-man front is going to be on Jesse's channel, I believe, correct?
That's right. CJ Henderson, baby. Let's go.
We're going to do a full freaking show on CJ Henderson.
As you should. As you should.
Hey, guys, it was a great one. Thanks.